Hello everyone, let us continue with our discussion. In the previous lecture, we have completed the introduction on how we do this financial modeling. Basically, we have covered up the 8 step. Means we'll start with the sales, then we'll go to the cost of goods sold, and then we'll go to the expenses, and then other expenses, taxes will be there, financing cost will be there. We will have to monitor the inflation and all these factors. Clear? That was the first section which we have covered, and in the second section we have covered about the behavioral biases. Okay, like you can be overconfident, okay, or it can be like what I have researched, that is correct. Okay, in that situation I will ignore all the informations which I have. Clear? So these are the areas we have covered up previously, and now we are going to start on with the third portion. Give the heading Porter's 5 forces. Give the heading Porter's 5 forces. Basically, it's about how you should price your product. Okay, it's all about the competition. It's all about the competition, and it's the heart of every business decision. Means even if I have to quote the price of CFA level 1 coaching, okay, then what I'll do, I'll compare all the coachings available in India. Clear? What pricing they are offering, and in that pricing what they are offering, suppose they are offering 25,000. Clear? In that they are offering video lectures plus notes plus question bank. Clear? What I'll do to be more competitive, I'll say that okay, I'll charge 25 only, but I'll give you some technical skills as well. Are you getting my point? Or I'll give you some short notes or mind maps as well. Clear? To keep myself up in the competition. Clear? Just sharing one small example which everyone is aware of. We all know that Apple can easily sell the phone which is worth of 1.5 lakh rupees. Clear? But still a Redmi, okay, Motorola, they find it difficult to sell even a phone at 20,000 rupees. Clear? Means someone can sell the phone at 1.5 lakh so easily while others are struggling to even sell at 20,000 rupees. Clear? The answer actually lies in the competitive position. Clear? Means how they have kept themselves high above in the market. Clear? That there is no competition for them. Why? Because in this range no one is competing with the Apple, but in this range of 20,000 there are many companies who are actually competing with the say Motorola, Oppo is there, Redmi is there, okay, Nokia is there. They all are competing. They all are competing in this price range. Clear? Now over here the Michael Porter, okay, he gave us this model to understand that how this industry dynamic actually make a company's ability to price their product. What should be the price based on the competition, and to control the cost. To control the cost, you have to see both the pricing of a product and to control the cost. Clear? So it talks about the revenue. It talks about the revenue and profitability. And profitability. It talks about the revenue and profitability. Clear? Now, first of all, we will understand each of the 5 those forces with example one by one. So, give the heading number 1, threat of substitute. Threat of substitutes. Threat of substitute means, just now I gave you one example that Apple don't have any substitute. Means if I want to buy an iPhone or MacBook, I'll buy that only because there is no substitute of that. But if I have to buy Dell, substitute is Lenovo. Substitute is Lenovo. Clear? So this is how I'll put my pricing. This is how I'll put my pricing. Clear? I'll give you one more example. If you sell a soft drink, clear? Your substitute is not only the Coca-Cola or a thumbs up. It can be your juices, water, coffee, coconut water. They all are the substitute. They all are the substitute. So if you have too many substitutes, you have to keep your price low. Clear? But if you have substitutes are very few, or if it's very hard for a customer to change from your product to other product, you can charge more. The same thing Apple is doing. One more option, think about Netflix. Okay, now when it comes to the streaming options, you have many. You have Amazon Prime, you have Disney Hotstar, you have Netflix, but whose pricing is the highest? Netflix. Why? Because of their content. Because of their content. Clear? But Prime have their own features. Prime have their own features. Means we all know that if someone buys a Prime, he will get not only the movies, he will get the free delivery on the Amazon as well. Clear? But there are substitutes. Means if someone have to buy the Netflix, they will buy Netflix only for sure. Now, what's the reason of buying the Netflix? What's the reason of buying the Netflix when they have the substitute of Disney Plus and Hotstar or Amazon? The reason is the content. The reason is the content which they are posting. Clear? So they post very high quality content that leads to the higher amount of pricing which people are ready to pay for the Netflix. If I'll tell you in 1500 you will get the whole 1 year package for Amazon Prime, but for Netflix you have to pay somewhere 200 per month, somewhere around 2500 per year. So you see there's a huge difference is of more than 70%, but still Netflix is successful in bringing the customers and getting the subscription payments. Clear? Write down threat of substitute. This is about how easily a customer can replace your product can easily replace your product with something else. If he can replace, pricing is low. If he cannot replace, pricing is high. Clear? Now, second, industry rivalry. Clear? Industry rivalry. Now, think of an airline industry. Now, tickets price are often low. For the airline industry I'm talking about, the tickets price are low, profits are very thin. Clear? Now, what's the reason? Means you have to travel from Delhi to Kolkata. Clear? Now for you it hardly matter whether it is Indigo, SpiceJet or Air India or Vistara. Clear? Which flight you will prefer the most? Which offers the lowest price? So over here pricing is very important. Clear? Now why they have to keep the lower price? Because there are too many players. Clear? Now there is one more point. Why their profits are very less? See, prices are low. First point, and second, their cost is very high. It can be aircraft, it can be fuel, it can be crew. Clear? So the cost is very high and it is fixed. Means if you have purchased the aircraft, you have to pay the maintenance, you have to pay the salary of the crew members. It's okay if you do not fly, you don't have to pay for the fuel, but still there are so many expenses. If you have purchased a aircraft, you have to taxi it. Okay, you have to pay the maintenance bill, you have to pay the parking bill. All these things you have to pay. Clear? And these things cannot be segregated. Now, but there are few flights who can charge you higher based on the services they are offering, based on the quality of services they are offering. Might be better quality of seats, might be the service of food. Okay, they are offering, might be they are offering you the, means as soon as you enter the airport, your check-in is the closest. Clear? Your aircraft line is the closest, you don't have to travel so much for that. So all these things are very important. But now when I say high rivalry, if you are into a product where there is a high rivalry, that means your pricing power is very low. You have to keep the pricing somewhere near about them as well. Clear? And there is a high pressure on margins. Why? Because of the high cost, low pricing. So pressure will be on margins. Clear? Now compare that with the luxury watches. Okay, like Rolex. Okay, you cannot compare it with the fossil. Clear? So in the domain of luxury watches, Rolex, they have a very low rivalry. Clear? That means they can keep better pricing power and hence their profitabilities are also very high. Clear? It's all about the pricing. So if rivalry is high, you cannot keep the pricing as per of your own choice. Clear? Now coming to the third point, bargaining power of the supplier. Supplier means you have to get something. You have to get something from your supplier so that you can sell it off. Clear? Now think it like this. You are a small bakery owner. Clear? And there is only one company which actually sell that special kind of flour which you need to make the biscuits, to make the breads, or to make the cookies. So means you have to make that, but for that raw material comes only from one single company. That means what? They have a monopoly. They have a monopoly. Now if they have a monopoly, they can increase the price. Clear? And you do not have any choice, but you have to accept it. Clear? But you have to accept it. In that situation, your profits will start going down. Clear? Now imagine you are an Apple company. You are an Apple company. Clear? Now you buy the components in massive volume from hundreds of suppliers. Means Apple phone is made of multiple things and you buy these multiple things from multiple suppliers. So even if one will increase the price, you won't be affected. You will buy it from someone else. You will buy it from someone else. So now the Apple will have better negotiation power. Apple will have better negotiation power to bring down the price. So if your suppliers are very less, they will control the pricing. Try to understand. Few suppliers, they will control the pricing and pressure will be on your cost. Cost will increase, profits will start going down. You cannot sell at a higher price because everyone is selling cookies, everyone is selling the bread. Clear? Now if you have too many suppliers, you can control the pricing. And that will reduce the cost. Clear? Write down. This is about how much power your supplier have to raise their prices, Clear? Now coming to point number 4. Now point number 4 is about the bargaining power of your customers, similar to the suppliers. Means think as if it's you selling the goods, and now there is one situation. You will have only one customer who will purchase all your products, and in second scenario you will have many customers. Now which one you want to prefer? Now think Walmart. Okay, this is Walmart. Now if Walmart comes to you and Walmart buy a product from you, then there is a possibility that Walmart will buy the entire product from your industry. But if they are buying so much, they will have a bargaining power. See, we are buying so much, we want a lower pricing. We want to lower the pricing. Clear? And they can threaten you. See, if you will not give the pricing which we want, we will not buy. not buy. So in this situation, what will happen? You will probably agree with them to sell your goods at a very lower price. In this situation, your customer will have a very high power, because you know that if he will not purchase, then who will? Because you are producing a product which can only be used by Walmart. Suppose if that is the situation, then Walmart can threaten you. Clear? But if you sell a very niche product, clear, and there is a long wait list for the people, means there are thousands of customers who are ready to buy your product, and someone comes from them and says, sir, give us 10% discount. You'll say, no, others are standing in line, I'll give them the price which I want. So if you have too many customers, you will not negotiate on the price. But if you have a single customer, you will negotiate on the price. Are you getting the point? Clear? Write down. Write down. When customers have many options, when customers have many options, they control the price. They control the price. When customer have many options, they will control the price. When you have something unique, when you have something unique and all customers are coming to you, in that situation, you will control the price. Means, let us think like this: 5 companies making a product. Here is a Walmart. He come to you and he say, I want to buy all the products of your factory, but at a discount of 20%. Now you know that if I will not give him 20% discount, then Mr. B will give the discount. He will go and he will ask for 20% discount, and you will not be able to sell your products. Are you getting the point? So in this situation, Walmart will control the price. Clear? Now coming to the 5th point, the last one, that is threat of new entrants. See, a point of time earlier, when I have started this coaching institute for CFA and FRM, there are only 3 institutes who are actually teaching. Means I'm talking about way back in 2016. Only 3 coaching institutes in India who are teaching CFA and FRM. Who are teaching CFA and FRM. Clear? Now all the students are having only 3 options. All the students having only 3 options. Clear? So the business is coming to 3 of them. The business is coming to 3 of them. But now if I'll tell you about this 2015 scenario, there are more than 20 coaching institutes in India who have started, and most of them have started after 2022. Most of them have started after 2022. Now the number of students is on an average the same, or might have increased by say 10 to 15%. But now those students have been divided among 20 coaching institutes. So what happened to all the coaching institute? If you'll ask me, the first 3, when I have started, for us the number of students have reduced because they have now getting other options. Clear? They have now started looking for other options. Clear? So now this is a threat for us. If it is easy to enter into a business, then anyone will enter into the business and they will reduce the sale of those who have started it before. Are you getting the point? So if it is easy to enter into a business, then there is a threat on you. There is a threat on you that you might lose your business. Clear? But if it is very difficult to enter into this business, might be it requires some patent or some expertise or some huge amount of cost, then it will become difficult for a new entrants to come and start the business. Clear? Now, what are those business? If you'll ask me, pharma industry. Okay, it will take years of research and regulation to follow to launch a new drugs. Then it is very difficult to find a new competitor. Very difficult. You are suppose a car manufacturer. It's very difficult to set up a car manufacturing unit. It is because cost intensive. Huge amount of cost is required. Huge amount of cost is required. Clear? Write down. Write down. High entry barrier. high entry barrier means no one can easily come and start the business in which you are. That means you will have more pricing power, because you know that no one will be able to come into this business, so you will have more pricing power. But point number two, low entry barrier. It's very easy for them to come and start this business. Competition will increase and hence price will start going down. Price will start going down. Think of Zomato. Think of a Zomato. Another option is Swiggy. Okay, means if Zomato will start charging higher delivery charges and Swiggy is charging low, then what? Being a customer, what I'll do? I'll go to the Swiggy. Clear? So Zomato will have a substitute with the name of Swiggy. Clear? Now, if I'll ask you Ravelry, then there are multiple apps which are fighting to get the same customers. Suppliers are same, that is the restaurants and the delivery partner. So they will have a very small bargaining power. They will have a very small bargaining power because they know that if suppose I am a restaurant, clear, I am saying that no, I will pay 10% commission, but Zomato is saying no, we will give you only 4% commission, or we will charge say 20% commission. Now, if the restaurant knows that if I'll not agree with him, I won't be able to do the business with Zomato, then I only option left with is Swiggy. And what if 50% of the customer don't use Swiggy, 50% of the customer use Zomato? I will lose a very big portion of the customer. So he needs to agree. He needs to agree with them. Clear? Are you able to understand? This Porter 5 forces are very important when you are going to start a new business, to identify what should be the pricing of your business. Are you getting the point? Now, let us continue with our discussion. After the Porter's 5 forces, we have to do the forecasting. Okay, now in this forecasting, the important thing which I think should be covered is the impact of inflation and deflation. Clear? Now I'll try to explain that with some easy examples. Clear? So that you can understand that in detail. Clear? So it's about forecasting in the real world. It's about forecasting in the real world. Clear? We know that the prices are not stable, things are changing all the time, but still we want to do the forecasting. Clear? Now, if I'll ask you what happened to your favorite chocolate bar if the cocoa price will double, basically when the cocoa price will double, then what will happen to the price of your chocolate? Clear? Now, there is one scenario, if the cost will rise, if the cost will increase, company will keep the price same and hence their profit will start decreasing. This is the first scenario. Or the company will increase the price proportionately and profit remain stable. Clear? And if now, why the company will not increase the price? There is a fear factor. The fear, what if the customer will stop buying the product? What if the customer will stop buying the product? Clear? So basically we are going to understand over here the forecasting during inflation or deflation, which is one of the most realistic and the dynamic challenge which all the financial analysts actually face, because you can forecast the sales, profit, net profits, but what about the inflation, deflation? All things are at the back related to the economy, the jobs, the money market, flow of the money in the economy, the banking sector, so many things. Then you will arrive at the point of inflation. Are you getting my point? Now, inflation, deflation, you pick up any industry, whether it's airlines, whether it's agriculture, manufacturing, or even the food delivery business. Clear? Input cost like fuel, grains, packaging, raw material can fluctuate widely and can impact your cost of goods sold, can impact the pricing decision, can impact the customer demand, and ultimately it will impact my profitability. Clear? So as a future analyst, okay, after you finish your CFA, you will become a analyst. Your job is to forecast that how these changes will impact a company's future financials. That's what the whole point is. Clear? So none of the business is safeguarded or protected with this inflation or deflation environment. Clear? So the point number one, if you'll ask me step by step, we'll go step by step. Point number one, identify the major input cost. Major input cost means, if I'll talk about the airlines, what is the most important input cost? It's the jet fuel. If I'll ask you about a cereal company, the grains like wheat or corn, these are the major input. If I'll ask you a coffee shop, coffee beans. Clear? Or if I'll ask you some Ola Uber kind of taxi app, then fuel and the driver incentives, these are the major drivers, major cost to these companies. Clear? Now, after identifying the major inputs, second point is to check for the hedging or vertical integration. You should check for hedging. We have studied that in derivatives, that we should hedge. If we are afraid, what if the price of the oil will rise? What we'll do, we'll buy the futures of the oil, or we will do vertical integration. Bring that business into our business. Means, if I'm afraid of rising oil price, clear, what I'll do, I'll buy an oil company. So that profits also come to my pocket only. Clear? So either I can go for hedging or I can go for the vertical integration. Clear? But this one is very difficult, buying a altogether a complete business rather than hedging a small portion of your contracts. Clear? Then coming to the step 3, it's all about analyze the company's pricing power. We have discussed in detail in the Porter's 5 forces. Clear? That what actually drive the pricing. Means, if the input cost will rise, can I increase my price? If yes, then how much without losing the customer? If yes, then how much? Because I don't want to lose the customer. That's also very important. So that purely depends upon the price elasticity of demand. It purely depends upon the price elasticity of demand. Means, if I'll give you one example, if I'm a Domino's owner, okay, and if I will increase my price by 10%, clear, then what will happen? Customer can switch to the local outlets, or they can cook the things at their home. Clear? And hence the sales of the company of the Domino's pizza will drop. Clear? Why? Because of the elastic demand. But on the other hand, if Apple increase the iPhone prices, people will still buy. Inelastic demand. Clear? So if the demand is elastic, we cannot increase the price. If the demand is inelastic, we can increase the price. Clear? Then coming to step number 4. Clear? Write down. We need to consider the competitors' behavior. Now, if any one company is actually rising the input cost, clear, then you might hesitate to raise the price. Why? See, there are two companies. For one company, the input cost increased and hence you have increased the price. But for company B, they have kept the pricing as same. Customer will move from company A to company B. Customer will switch from one company to another. Means, try to understand that if you have Uber and Ola, if Uber will increase the price, what you will do? You will move to Ola. If you'll ask me, I keep 3 different apps: Ola, Uber, and Blue Smart. So I'll check on all the 3 apps which one is giving me the lower price. I'll go to them. Are you understanding? So competitors' behavior is also very important, that how your competitors are behaving, how they are driving the customers to them. Clear? Point number 5. Operational adjustments. Operational adjustments. Operational adjustment means now cost is increasing because of the inflation. Clear? Now, rather than increasing the price, means input cost is rising. Input cost is rising. Clear? So you have two options: keep the pricing same or increase the price. And if you will increase the price, you will lose customers. You will lose customers. And if you keep the pricing same, your profit will start going down. What now? What? First, reduce your marketing expenses. Reduce your marketing expenses. Clear? You can fire few of your employees. Clear? Then packaging cost can be reduced. Clear? You can switch from one input to another. You can switch from one input to another. I'll give you one real and practical example. Ola and Uber drivers, they used to use the petrol or diesel few years back, but they are very costly. Now they have transformed them into a CNG vehicles, and hence their input cost have reduced. So they have switched their inputs from oil to gas, leads to the lower pricing to protect their profit margins. Clear? This is your point number 5. Coming to point number 6. Write down: adjust financial forecasts accordingly. Adjust financial forecast accordingly. Now, if it's a cereal company and I face that my input cost have increased by 15%. Clear? Now, if I'll increase the price by 10%, I will lose 5% of my customers. Clear? So over here, your revenue will change. Clear? If I will not change the price, my gross margin will shrink. If I'll cut the advertisement expenses, then my expenses will reduce and hence my net profit will increase. But this will impact your brand value if you're not marketing. So there is a trade-off. So you have to adjust all these trade-offs in your forecasting. Are you getting the point? You have to adjust all your trade-off into the forecasting. Clear? Now what we'll do, let us do one small example to understand that how this is impacting. For the exam purpose it's not required, but for the purpose of knowledge I think you can do it. Clear? Okay, so let us start with our example. There is an XYZ limited company and I am sharing their income statement for the year ending 2011. Okay, now we have the information of revenue: 100 units sold with the price of 100. So how much is their revenue? 1 lakh. Clear? Cost of goods sold: 100 units sold, price of the goods sold means the cost of goods sold is 40,000. Clear? Now what's your gross profit? 60,000. This is your gross profit. Now selling, general and other administrative expenses, say 30,000. What is your net profit? Or you can say operating profit. How much? 30,000. Clear? Now this is the information for 2011. Now you need to do the forecasting for 2012. Clear? Now your input cost will increase by 5 per unit. Your input will increase by 5 per unit. Clear? So this 40 will become, this 40 will become 45, this 40 will become 45, and this will become 45,000. Clear? Now there are three different cases. First, I have observed that there is an inflation in the input cost. Clear? Now there are three different cases: A, B, C, and D. Now in the first case, the entire increase in the input cost is passed on to the customer. Means $5 I will increase the price, $5 I will increase the price. Clear? And the number of units sold is not affected. Means the number of units sold remain the same, that is 1000 units only. So this will become 105, this will become 105, this will become 10500. Clear? Are you understanding over here? This how much? Same 60,000, same 30,000. Over here it's also same 30,000. Clear? Are you understanding over here? Now if you ask me what is the gross profit margins, gross profit margins and operating margins, so how to calculate the gross profit margins? It's 60,000, it's 60,000 divided by your sales, that is 105,000. Clear? Which is equivalent to 57%. 57% is your gross profit margins. What is your operating margins? 30,000 divided by 105,000, which is equals to 29%. So this is a scenario where you have increased the cost of goods sold by $5, revenue also increased by $5, and there is no change in the units sold. The number of units sold remains the same. That means inelastic demand. This is the case of inelastic demand. Clear? This is the situation where you are saying that there is inelasticity. Clear? But over here in the previous scenario, what was my gross profit margin? 60,000 divided by 1 lakh, that is 60%. 30,000 divided by 1 lakh, 30%. This was my original gross profit margins and the operating margins. So can you compare it now? Can you compare this now? Can you compare this? Even you have passed on that expense, that extra cost of input, still your expense, still your margins have reduced. The reason is this factor. This is the factor which have actually reduced your operating margins. Clear? Because all factors are same, you see, increase by 5, hence no changes, but still your margins have reduced. Clear? Now coming to the second scenario, selling price increased by 5%, but number of units sold also decreased by 5%. Means selling price will become 105, but number of units sold decreased by 5%. That means 950. So let us see an example. 950 is the units which you are selling at what price? 105. So 99750. Cost of goods sold 950. What price? 45. 42750. Then 57,000. 30,000 for selling administrative expenses. 27,000. Clear? So now what is your gross margins and what is your operating margins? In this situation, 57% and 27%. 57% and 27%. So you see that your operating margins remains the same, but your net profit margins have reduced. Your net profit margins have reduced. Clear? So till now we have seen two scenarios where I have increased the price and the number of units sold remain the same. I have increased the price, number of units sold have actually reduced. Clear? Now coming to the third scenario where if I increase the price by 5%, means price will become 105, but units sold decrease by 10%, means this time downward pressure on the units sold is very huge. Means 10,000 1000 units sold will become 900 units sold. So in this scenario, let us see how it is going to impact us. Pricing is same 105, but number of units sold 900. 45 is the cost, 900. Clear? So if you'll ask me the difference, 94500, 40,500, the difference is 54,000. Clear? 30,000 is your selling cost, then you are left with 24,000. Clear? How much is your gross margin and operating margins? 57% and 25%. You see that in all the scenario, your gross margins remains the same. Your gross margin remain the same. Why? Because the difference between them, over here in all the scenarios are same. That is of $60. That is of $60. And this is the reason my gross margins in all the scenarios remains the same. But what impacted the most is the profit margin. You see, started from 30%, 29%, 27%, and over here 25%. So hence my gross margins are reduced, my profit operating margins are reducing continuously because of the inflation factor. Clear? So now if there is an inflation, the rise in the price of input cost. Clear? In which situation I can say that I can maintain the same operating margin? That's the question. Okay. So if your selling price is 10650, you are selling 1000 units. Clear? 45 is your cost of goods sold. Clear? So it is 106,500 and this is 45,000. Clear? Now how much is your gross margins? 1065 minus 45,000, 615,000. Clear? Then 30,000 is your selling expenses, 315,000. Clear? So first of all calculate the gross margin. Gross margin how much? 57.74%. 57.74% gross margin have increased. Now what about the net profit margins? 29.57. Somewhere you are approaching your operating margins of 30%. That means you need to increase more. You need to increase more to reach the 30%. Now what you can observe over here is that you have to increase the price more than the increase in the cost of the goods sold to actually reach to the level of the original net profit margins of 30%. Hopefully you can understand this part, and this is very challenging. Means the cost of goods sold increased by 5%, but the price of your selling of your goods say increasing by 7% to match the net profit margin. This is very challenging for the companies. Clear? So you can see that inflation will impact a lot to the organizations. Clear? Now let us move ahead with the next topic to be discussed. Clear? You have prepared the models. Okay, you have prepared all the models, you have done the forecasting. But now something which is very important, forecast horizon. For how many years how many years you will do the forecasting, for how many years you will actually do the forecasting, whether it is short term, long term, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, how much, very important factor. So we need to forecast how much horizon I actually want to forecast the financial statement, clear, which is actually beyond the short term, which is actually beyond the short term, clear. Now this is again an important part of the financial modeling, clear. Till now what we have discussed is how to forecast a company's financial, clear, but now what we are going to do is forecast the horizon, forecast the horizon. Now I'll give you one example that you are planning a road trip, clear, you know your destination, clear, but what you have to plan is how is the length of your trip. Do you want a short trip or do you want to plan your trip as a long trip? Means if say I that I want to plan a short trips, when I say short trip means I will plan that what I will do on each and every hour, what I'll do on each and every hour. If I'm planning a long trip, if I'm planning a long trip, then I'll plan it only in say three parts, means breakfast, lunch, and then dinner. In between I'll not plan each and every small things, but yes, what we say na, up and down is okay, I'm fine with something up and down, clear. So similarly, I am doing a forecasting. So whether I'll do it for 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, or I want a shorter one where I'll forecast Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, again Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So what I want, how short I want to do the forecasting. Clear? So what we can do, we can predict the next 1 to 2 years with confidence. Means these is something which I can prepare and plan with confidence. I know the market, I know the interest rate, I know the inflation, but beyond that, if you are going, you have to deal with lots of uncertainty, you have to take lots of assumptions, clear, and that's where our model will become complex. And over here we need to decide that what should be the horizon of my forecasting, clear. Write down, first of all, write down what is forecast horizon. Write down what is forecast horizon. It is the number of years, it is the number of years into the future, it is the number of years into the future that an analyst will explicitly forecast, revenue, cost, future cash flows, and earnings. Clear? After that period, full stop, after that period, comma, we generally use a terminal value, to estimate the remaining value of the company, means over till here I have estimated, but after that it will go till infinity. Definitely I cannot forecast each and everything. So what I'll do, I'll find out the value of the company and I'll bring it to the present value over here. Clear? Because it's going to be infinity. So this will become my terminal value. Clear? Now we are going to do this in 4 steps. My forecast horizon will be done in 4 steps. Number 1, choosing the forecast horizon. Choosing the forecast horizon. So you are a buy side analyst. Clear? Now the horizon must align with your holding period of the stock. Means for how long you will hold the stock. Suppose you will hold the stock for 3 years. Clear? So you should forecast it for 3 years. What's the use of forecasting beyond that? You are doing forecasting for yourself. So forecast it for your expected holding period of that particular stock. Suppose you are holding it only for 2 years. Then what is the use of forecasting it beyond that? Clear? So you will forecast it only for the time period for which you are going to hold a stock. Clear? This is your first point. Write down second. Consider the business cycle. consider business cycle. You have to consider the business cycle. Now, some businesses are cyclical in nature, meaning they can go up and down with the economy. They can go up and down with the economy. Means if I'll tell you some examples like airlines, then we have steel, we have real estates. They are not in the boom all the time. Okay, so some years they have a boom, some years they have a slowdown. Clear? Now, if you forecast during the peak period, over here, if you are forecasting, clear, now your numbers will be too optimistic. Now if you are forecasting over here, clear, during the downturn, your numbers will be too pessimistic. So what's the solution? Write down. So your forecast should ideally include a full or partial cycle. It should include a full or partial cycle. Comma, so you can capture a mid cycle level of the earnings. Means you are capturing this whole part, both down also came, up also came. So you are able to capture a mid cycle level of the earning, which we call the normalized earning. Clear? Normalized earnings, where you have captured both the boom as well as the recession, and average out. Clear? Now coming to the step 3, this is your consider the temporary events. You have to consider the temporary events. Now, sometimes some big events happens like mergers, acquisitions, restructuring, regulatory reforms. Clear? So what they will do, they sometimes boost or hurt the earnings for a short period of time. Clear? Now what you want, that your horizon should include all this. So that it will be captured in your earnings, and again it will get average out. You should not do like this, that in this period of say quarter 3, this restructuring happened, and because of which your sales spiked. Now you will use that for future forecasting, and hence your sales will keep on rising. But this was a temporary event. It will not go the long way. Clear? If I'll tell you an telecom company, okay, they merges with the another company, so it will take 3 to 5 years to actually take the benefit of that synergy, like cost saving, increase the number of customers. So within 1 year it will not show up. Are you getting my point? So these temporary events will not have the effect immediately. It will take long time. Clear? Step 4, it is about the manager driven horizon. Basically in some firms, what I say, that they will not be able to choose that they have to create a model for 2 years or 3 years. There is a strict rule that you have to create a model for 5 years. That's our standard. You have to follow that. Means I'm your boss, you are my analyst. Clear? I said that go and make a financial model, forecasting model on Reliance Industry for 5 years. But you will say, no sir, so and so you will give me all these logics which you have studied, that how to choose the horizon. But I say, see, this is our standard, do your job. Getting my point? So this is a manager driven horizon, where you will follow what I have said to you. Clear? Now one thing which I have discussed over here, you remember that terminal value, terminal value Then how you will calculate this terminal value? Based on two methods. Number one is price multiple method. Price multiple method, and second one we have is the DCF method. That is discounted cash flow method. Clear? I don't think so that I need to discuss this. We have discussed this in detail in the equity section. Okay, so over here you can use the P factor or earning value and EBITDA ratio. Clear? And when it comes to the DCF, you can use the terminal value, that is equals to the cash flow, then multiply it with 1 plus growth divided by R minus G. Clear? But we have done all of these in equity, so I am not taking that in detail over here. Clear? Now this is my personal suggestion to you, to all the analysts who are going to prepare the models, going to prepare the structures. Don't just blindly follow the what had happened in the past. Okay, because new technologies are coming. Okay, new changes happening, regulation caps. Okay, consumer behavior is changing, so many things is happening. Consider that in your financial models. Clear? So we call these as an inflection point from where things are shifting. Clear? So sometimes when the futures will not look like the past. What is the inflection point? Basically when future will not look like the past. Clear? So being able to spot these shift as early as possible so that your models are accurate. They will give you the right information about the company, the right pricing about the company. Clear? Now I have covered each and everything in detail for this particular topic. So just give a thorough reading. We have done each and every point in detail. Clear? If you have any doubt, question, queries, just revert it back to me and I will sort that out. Clear? So I am ending this lecture here. Thank you.